Yeah, yeah. Coming up on Mental Health Marty, they're back with us, y'all, the doctors. You don't want to miss this conversation, this lively conversation about Women's Health Month. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's me, it's Marty, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and in living California, in living color, in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. Listen, it is so good to see you. What's up, everybody? Yes, we are doing it, and I'm so excited that the doctors are back with us. I don't know about you, but I've been missing these ladies. They are the real deal, and they are back to talk about in Women's Health Month being May, and this is the last day of May. I could not let this month go without bringing them back on the show. We have missed them. Listen, they're looking beautiful. I ain't one to gossip. Somebody is about to have a birthday. Somebody just got off of a cruise, and somebody else has got a new do for the summer. Listen, y'all ain't ready for these doctors. Are you with me? Yes. But before I bring them on, yes, Lanisha, how are you, darling? Listen, let me remind you the purpose of our show. The purpose of Mental Health Marty is this. We are intended as a psychoeducational and a medical tool to support you along your journey to mental and physical wellness. Now, we are not a substitute. Let me say that again. We are not a substitute for you seeing your doctor, for you seeing your psychiatrist, for you seeing your psychologist, for you seeing your psychotherapist. But we are a supplement. What are you talking about, Marty? Okay, we are not a medical tool. Okay. No, oh, okay. We are an educational tool. You're right. Thank you. I have Daryl in my ear telling me that we're not a medical tool. If I said that, I didn't mean it. So we're educational tool. We're to bring education to the game. We're to bring some knowledge to it so that you can talk to a professional about those things, whether it's your physiological health, whether it's your mental health, and we do have some on other shows, some spiritual health along the way. But we are part of your treatment plan. In other words, we want you to stop the stinking thinking and all the maladaptive thoughts, especially in our community, that we don't need help. Baby, we need help. Touch your neighbor and say, we need some help. We need some help. We need some help. Yes, we do. But now, how do you engage with us? I'm glad you asked that question. You engage with us by simply going to the Mental Health Marty YouTube page and subscribing to it. There we will see your comments. If you're on any other platform, we will not see your comments, and we want to make sure that you are engaging with us. So how do you do that? Like and subscribe. There you go. And you'll hear that bell to let you know. Now, I guess I should be excited that we've had some trolls, but all the trolls, stay away. We don't even want you to deal with you. If not, we'll block you. But everyone else, invite someone. Cynthia, thank you so much. We're with me. Thank you. Portia Scott, hello, darling. We are so glad that you are joining us for this exciting show. Yes. Fanny, yes, how are you? Good to see you. Listen, invite some other people along because this is going to be so good. Now, let me start off here. We are not a political show either. Listen, we just tell you the truth. Where you decide, that's up to you. Everyone has choices in life. Everyone can make their decision on what you want to do. We just want to bring you from our perspective and our perspective only what we believe in. Come on, new subscribe from Ohio. Come on, thank you. Come on, Big O. That's where I'm from, Ohio. Come on. Ain't nothing but great folk in Ohio. So listen, so glad you're out there. Invite other people. Thank you for subscribing. This is going to be a show of shows. I'm going to stop doing this long dialogue, but I want to bring in my sister from another mister. We've been knowing each other since we were at Cal Berkeley back in the day. She stood up and said, listen, I'm going to be a doctor, and she has not changed or veered from it. She is celebrating her birthday on this Friday, and I'm so glad that she is my sister. I love her with all my heart. None other than Dr. Gwen Allen of the Gardena Women's Center. Dr. Allen, happy birthday.
Hey, Marty, how are you? Yes, how are you telling everybody it's my birthday, but black doesn't crack? Could I get it?
No, it does. Come on,
No,
come on, Queen. Yes.
That face,
Yes,
all
yes.
about that
Give us face. Give us face. Give us face.
Right, face in the teeth.
How are you?
Look at that,
Listen.
Okay.
Yes. You're looking amazing. Yes, for the birthday.
Amazing.
Yes.
I am
That's
happy
right.
to be back. And, COVID had kept us out for a little while. And also we're going through, a lot of things. And people who know me, my mom's in the hospital, so let's continue to pray for her.
Yes.
And I chose to be on tonight just to give me a break from that, to educate people, to do what I love doing. I love my mom. I love everything that's going on. But this kind of takes my mind off for a little bit. So this hour, I'm glad to be here, glad to educate, and hopefully that people will get some out of this conversation tonight because it's very heated. I got my girls with me tonight, and we're on every side of the fence, and so we're here to get started.
Yes. And again, Dr. Allen, our prayers, you're with our prayers with your mother and everyone's on here. They're wishing you happy birthday. And y'all, please lift up Dr. Allen's mother. She's like my mother too. Yes. Because I said, Miss Allen, she goes, baby, you don't call me Miss Allen. I'm Mama Allen. I said, yes, Mama. Mama Allen. Listen, Mama Allen, y'all, I want energy. She be the first one up dancing and everything. But Mama Allen, know that we love you and definitely praying Godspeed for you and your family, Dr. Allen. But let's bring our girls on. I'm going to let you introduce our girls. Definitely, I think we have Dr. McKinney in the first spot and Dr. Horn in the second spot. But bring our girls on and let's talk about them. Yes.
Yes, let's bring Dr. McKinney on, right? Dr. McKinney on. She's back, and you know how she is, and she just came off a great trip, and we welcome her back today. How are you, Doc? What's going on?
Hello.
And that's also my
How
soror.
are you? Hey, how's it going?
Dr. Jamie, we ain't gonna let her get away with that. We ain't gonna let her get away with it.
I'm trying to find some green. This is for my best friend, my bestie forever, who's an AKA, who's an obstetrician gynecologist. We love her dearly, from Chicago transplant, but she knows she wants to be here, as in Marty says, in sunny California. Love you so really. That's Dr. Jamie Horn. Dr. Jamie Horn.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Dr. Jamie, I know. I wait a minute now. Y'all see Dr. Horn and this new hair. She's giving us summer. That's right. That's right.
Wait, get that face, girl. Get that face.
Okay.
I love it. Yes.
You lost control of your show already. We just started.
already started. We have Dr. McKinney.
Let's wish Dr. Horn a happy belated birthday as well. She's also
happy belated.
We're not going to tell the club that we're in because black does not crack. But happy belated birthday to you, my sister Taurus.
That's right. And also, Dr. Horn, you have a college graduate from the HBCU as well. Come on. Congrats.
All right. Congratulations, Jordan.
Thank you.
Yes.
And a law school
Yes.
student.
Yeah, the first child who graduated. Right. I'm so excited.
And she's going to law
I am
school
so
too.
excited. Thank you.
Yes.
Right. But she only
Wonderful.
had her when she was 10.
Yeah.
So that's what makes her only like 20 something.
Thank
28,
you.
right?
Right. Now Marty done gave my age out. Like she
I ain't giving
Amen.
nobody's age out to anything.
Right.
Listen, I am proud to be in the 50s club because listen, I
Oh
know
my
some
I'm not
20-year-olds
there.
that
I don't
don't.
know what you're
Who,
talking about.
I'm just saying for me because we know some 20 and 30-year-olds. You go, how old are you? Oh,
Right, right.
you need to take
Definitely.
better care of your health. So since we're talking about Women's
Exactly.
Health Month, yes, Dr. Allen, start us off about Women's Health Month. Why is it this such a vital and important topic, especially considering the climate we are in right now as a nation? And why is it imperative that women start speaking up and out about their rights and their physical health?
It is very important from back to the women's suffrage movement. Women
Mm-hmm.
they really didn't have any rights in the beginning. So now we're full circle in 2022, and that now someone is trying to take those rights away from us. So our voices need to be heard. We're here today to tell you how you should speak out and speak up for yourself. Our
Come
bodies,
on.
ourselves, and we have to be in control of that. Legislative or another person cannot tell you what you can do with your body. We do not tell men when and where they can take Viagra or when they
Uh-oh.
should get a prostate exam. So why
Uh-oh.
should our uterus be a part of legislation? I don't understand that. You have a right to choose whether you should take a vaccine or not, but you don't have a right to
Mm-hmm.
choose what goes on with your uterus. Also,
Oh,
before we
wow.
get into our controversial topic today, which is Roe versus Wade, I also want you guys to think about something else. When we talk about women's health, we talk about the ability to sterilization and things of that nature. Have
Mm-hmm.
you guys ever, when you were in your obstetrician gynecology office, they said, "What do your husband think about this?" What do you mean, what does your husband think about this? This is my right of whether I should, bear a child or have another child. So today, our conversation is about protecting our bodies, protecting our rights, and knowing
Mm.
what is good for us. And I think that's most important because we have come a long way. We started voting later on than most men. We were considered to be basically equal to men in the churches, in the
Mm-hmm.
schools, in the profession.
All
And
right.
then well, now that we're equal to men, now they're trying to take something away from us. So I'm ready for this conversation today. I know it's very controversial, and we're here to speak about it because as women of color,
Yes.
we want to educate other women of color about what is going on. And it is very important to vote on your rights because it is not about
Come on.
liking the candidate. It is about preserving your right as an individual and as a woman. That's my spill
Oh,
today.
Well,
Dr. Horn,
I
I
think
see you
it's.
over there. But go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. McKinney.
Oh, sorry, Jamie. Did you want to go first?
Oh no, go ahead, Giselle.
Okay.
Dr. McKinney.
So
Oh, they're so
from
polite today. Kobe should
I
have
know.
came
I
long
love it.
time ago because they are never polite. They normally talk over each other, but today they're saying, "Oh my God, go ahead, Giselle.
you know
Oh,
what?
go ahead, Jamie. Who's
I
gonna go
was
first? Oh my God, wait till we
We're going
start
to
you know
start off on the
what?
speaking.
right
They're
note.
gonna talk all
Look
over each
here.
other. Probably start clawing each other. Start,
See,
So yeah, go ahead, Giselle. Let us get your view on what you should
It's,
talk about
it's her birthday,
today.
y'all.
Marty, I can't stand
Yes.
her. Okay, so you're trying to be civil for one time, and this will start more
Right.
foolishness. But Jamie, my girl, she understands. She understands. Now, forget you, Ren. What I was about to say is this started long time ago. If you remember,
Right.
Dukakis running for
Mm.
president of the United States against Ronald Reagan. He was a much more qualified candidate, but Karl Rove got into this politics of slander and
Mm-hmm.
Willie Horton that man
Persuasion.
into oblivion. And because at the time people thought class and demeanor meant more, and we were not
Mm-hmm.
prepared to fight the fight that they brought to the door, and the best
Mm-hmm.
qualified candidate lost. So
Mm.
here we go with the whole, what is this, some 40, almost 50 years of
Mm-hmm.
Rovian Republican thinking. It is all predicated upon a format that used religion to decimate a whole group of people and to keep the status quo. And the Democratic Party, I know we're talking about politics, but I'm using that as a jumping ground for where we are now, never adjusted and pivoted all over this whole time to get ready for what we are today. No one thought that Barack Obama was going to have the grassroots campaign that he did, because he didn't take not one single corporate dollar. Then, of course, corporations became people, and the difference between the upper 1% and the rest of us became so much more. We under Reagan, we cut taxes, we cut corporate taxes, we cut loopholes, we cut safety nets, and it continued with every Republican president we've had, to where we now have religions getting into politics that should be paying taxes, but now they get this unfettered money to do and say whatever they want to. You can go on social media and find some of the most vile people spewing the most divisive things and talking about their pro-life. There's a difference between being pro-life and pro-choice. Pro-life should mean that I am for the life of the child when it gets here. I'm pro early education. I'm pro food programs. I definitely wouldn't be not funding formula programs just to make the formula safer. That's why the formula is on shortage, because the company that was making it was found to be contaminated and had killed a couple babies. So this legislation that the Congress didn't pass was only to make sure that they got the funding to be able to produce a safer formula in the United States, and we didn't do that. That's how we're getting to the precipice. Everything is falling in line, and people have to stay abreast of what's going on in this country right now. So if Roe v. Wade falls, much more will fall after that. We are on the precipice of losing voting rights legislation. So if Roe falls, so will the rest. You won't have to worry about not having the right to vote. You won't have it. I never thought that in my lifetime that I would have to worry about our daughters not having the right to choose. Right to choose doesn't mean you want to have an abortion. There are times when it's clinically necessary. It's psychologically necessary, and it's your freaking choice. I don't necessarily like abortion, but I love that you have an option to choose it. I take my patients back whenever they have one. I tell them they're welcome to come back. I'm not going to help you get one, but I love that you have an option to do what is best for you in your life. I don't walk in your shoes. My 8.5 work on my feet, not on yours. So I need for you to do what's best for your life. And I'm not going to judge you. I read the Bible just like all these other people out here judging. And I don't see where he says, judge your fellow man. Ye who has without sin cast the first stone. I got sin of my own. Why would I be wanting to judge you for yours? So if we're going to be religious, read the whole damn Bible. If we're going to be medicine,
religious and damn. If you're going to be religious, read the whole damn Bible.
Right. Listen, I didn't say I wasn't a sinner. I'm saved, but
there you go. But you're going to read the whole damn Bible. Dr. Horn,
but I love that
from you. Let's hear from you, Dr. Horn, before we delve.
Go ahead, Dr. Horn. Yes.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Marty, for bringing us together. I really have
missed you guys.
I know, we always make fun of each other and kid each other, but I really have missed you guys. And thank you for highlighting Women's Health Month. But my problem with highlighting Women's Health Care Month for a month is that we should advocate for ourselves every day, not just in the month of May. We need to be advocating for ourselves every day. And when you do see your provider, you need to advocate, meaning speak up. If you don't understand what the choices your provider's giving you, ask questions. If you feel like you're getting on your provider's last nerve, oh well. If that person isn't for you, ask to see that person's partner. But you should not leave your provider's office without having all your questions answered and understanding your treatment plan, a treatment plan that you and your provider made together. Not that me as a physician saying you need to do this, this, and this. Like Giselle said, I don't know you and your life. I don't know if what I'm suggesting is going to work for you. So it needs to be a plan that you guys come up with together. So I just hope throughout all of our conversations, whatever we're talking about, women know to advocate for yourself. Advocacy
Most
is
definitely.
one of the things that I think will help you in the long run.
Right.
I
And
love that.
I
But I
think
Because
agree with
talk,
today
everything else
was
we said.
yeah.
right. I think
Go ahead, Dr.
today our
Allen.
conversation piece it will spark a lot of conversation, and that's what we
Mm-hmm.
want to be, people
Mm-hmm.
to know about. When we talk about Roe versus Wade, for those who don't know, in 1973, this was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme
Yes.
Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
I can choose what goes on in my body despite religion, race, creed, or color. And then all of a sudden, now in 2022, now I cannot choose that liberty. Who did that to us? Why is this a topic
Mm.
of conversation? Because now, if
Mm-hmm.
you really think about something, when this came about in 1973, everybody's going back and putting the amendment, it's our constitutional rights and things of that nature. But gay sex, gay rights, gay marriage, biracial marriage were not a part of Constitution. So are we going to go and overturn all these other things when somebody gets into Congress
yes,
and says they do not
yes,
like those particular things? So
yes,
we're here
they
Mm.
today
are.
to tell you it is your body, it is your right. So let's talk about from an obstetrical gynecological standpoint, what does that do to me as a physician? Young
That's
lady
good.
comes to me and says, I have been molested by either my
Mm-hmm.
brother, sister, my brother, my cousin, or whomever. Now, let's look at the long term consequences of those actions, especially if there's a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
Black babies are the last to be adopted out of the system. So now you're going to have someone who's pregnant with an unwanted child who put a baby in the system. Now the majority are saying, who's going to take care of that? Oh, let's bring them to the Catholic churches. Let's
Yes.
bring them that. Where are they getting that money from? So now you're going to have, are we going back to having orphanage now? Then you also have to say, the child is abused. So now the psychological things, like Marty, you can talk about when someone
Mm-hmm.
has an unwanted child and has to take care of that unwanted child. Now there's a abuse cycle that goes on there. So now you're going to have child abuse put into the picture. Not only that, from an obstetrical gynecological perspective, you're going to have a woman that's going to unlicensed physician having terminations in the
That
back
part.
alley, and we all know that even in our profession, some people perforate the uterus and they pull out bowel. And so you're going to get people going
Yes.
to die again. You're going to get people that are very
Yes.
sickly. So this is a thing that is just not about the children. It's about the whole consequences of the action of overturning this particular thing. So we need to talk about it and say, how does this affect women in general? What is your opinion on that, Dr. Moore? What's your take? If so, a young lady comes to you and say, first of all, you got to realize that you may go to jail now. It is a $10,000 fine or up to life, but that wasn't a part of your Hippocratic oath, right? You didn't say I'm going to
Right.
vow to take $10,000 fine and go to jail if I help somebody with their lives. So now we have to think about, as physicians, do I want to go to jail or should I help this person? What's your take on that, Doc?
Well, for me, I'm in Illinois, so it's not really going to affect me as a physician.
Mhm.
Who I'm curious to see who it's going to affect is Dr. McKinney. You're in red state, Louisiana. Like, how are you
Jesus.
planning to manage this?
Well, the current bill that hit the Louisiana legislature was a bill, I can't remember the number of it, that stated that any person who performed a termination would go to jail for life. And any person who actually
Wow.
had the termination would go to jail for murder. So they tried to make that a homicide. So if you're
Wow.
considering it a life while it's in the uterus, I'm wondering if they're going to give it life insurance, and if it dies spontaneously, do I get money for
Oh.
that? I just want to know. I
Well,
just want to
Oh.
how
know, because
about
if it's a
this?
life
Can
in
I
utero,
can I ask for child support?
Right,
right?
right.
Oh.
I'm gonna need my money.
If we're gonna go there, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Right,
I want life insurance on my in utero clump of cells. I want life
right.
insurance. Since it starts at conception, I want conception insurance. Yeah, I want that.
And I
I
want
want
child
all
Can
of
I
support.
it.
ask?
I want men
But
on the list. I want child
can we also
support.
talk about the infant death mortality rate that's higher among our African American women in our
African American
communities?
women
And,
of
and, and
color.
Well,
if
that's by
this
design
does
too. That's by
okay,
design
talk
too.
to
This
us.
is not all by accident. Think about this. When you in the 1950s, when the federal government gave money and cheap housing by forming the suburbs to all white people, even though it was federal dollars, black people were not qualified for those monies. That set up the generational wealth that you have now. You still have redlining. I don't care if you call it redlining or not. It's still going on currently right now, where you can't get a loan for a area of color. Where if you do get if you did have an area of where more predominantly black or wealthy or upper middle class people were populating, what did the city or state legislature do? They built a highway through your neighborhood and decimated your neighborhood. Every highway you can just about in any major city
Oh wow,
or
yes.
roundabout, you can think
Yes.
about
Goes
where
through.
that went. Houston, Chicago, LA.
Detroit.
You went through black
Oakland.
neighborhoods, Detroit. You decimated upwardly mobile black communities that were thriving. You didn't have to massacre them, but you could sure kill them in different ways. So when you do that, then you have the death of the land that you own becomes more and more worthless. What happens when you lose the tax base for your area? Schools die. There's no good churches. There's no good health care. You manifest the destiny that we got to, that when we got to a plague, more of us would die. They even have done studies that show once you've gotten rid of the poverty statistics, African Americans like ourselves who are professionals still die even more because of the stress and the anxiety that we have to endure in our professional health life. We're not just professionals to everyone, but we have to deal with the racial stigmas, the sexism that is inherent in professional life. Marty, I'm sure you see it in your line of business, but you're a
Oh
man.
yes.
Look at these, look
Yes.
at all three of us. Whatever you're getting, we're getting that and some. I'm never
Some more.
that doctor. I'm the nurse. I'm the.
Wow.
I've even been
Wow.
told, "Can I get a lunch?" And I was like, "I'm sure you can. I'll find your nurse for you. You know, I'm
Right,
sure you
right.
can."
I think one
Yeah.
of the
Wait.
things that we need to point out here too, though, is that when women come to us, they come to us for a reason. We are no longer to be able to protect them. And I think that's
Mm,
when has medical benefits now become a political thing. And that's the problem.
that's
Don't get
good.
me wrong.
Yes.
I can understand the government saying, I am not going to pay for abortion. I am not going to make sure, I'm not going to pay for contraceptive. But that's the wrong thing to me. Why don't you educate in the schools again? Why don't you teach about, if your concern is overpopulation or people or have been being sexual, promiscuous, educate those individuals and then fund that particular part of the program. So then now you won't say, okay, now they're having all these babies in order to, to keep them in this land of poverty, as, Dr. McKinney said, you got to hold on to them. And now you're on welfare and you become dependent on the system and becomes a vicious cycle. We need to stop
Mhm.
that. We need to step and say, look, it is my right, my choice. Therefore, if the government wants to do something, help me pay for birth control. I'm here in California. The government does not pay for birth control pills, long acting IUDs or Nexplanon. So you're perpetuating this situation. So I have a young girl who's 16, 17 years old having sex, and then all of a sudden they get pregnant, but you don't pay for birth control. Or you have a young lady who's married, who has a husband, and they want to have birth control, but you're saying, I am not going to pay for that, or your benefits do not pay for that, or
Not
some
cover it.
doctors in your red states, Giselle, and Louisiana and North Carolina, and those places will say, I will not give these people birth control. But it is not your, when we took that oath, I'm sorry, I'm passionate about that.
That's
There's
all right. We
something
love
that's
the
called
passion.
autonomy. Autonomy. When I talk about autonomy, that means I have to look at my person individually. I do not cast judgment or my belief on what I need to do to
Mm,
make sure this person is taken care of. So why should we say now, oh, I don't believe in birth control, so I'm not going to give it to the next person? That is not your decision. Why now the legislators, doctors, all that is taking it in their hand to play God? Is it not your decision? I mean, how do you guys feel about that? I
Well,
cannot agree
I
with
live
it
in
I
a
need
more that when
someone,
you go ahead.
I live
right?
in a
Someone
I'm
needs
state
to
in a state.
explain.
go ahead,
Oh, go
I
Dr.
ahead.
live in
Horn.
a state. Oh, go ahead. I live in a state and a city that even pharmacists would refuse to fill out prescriptions for birth
Wow.
control, or pharmacists would
Wow.
refuse a Plan
Why?
B because they felt
Religious.
like they felt it was an
But
abortive
that's
fashion.
their religious religion. That is their religion.
I,
That is not the patient's.
right. But
Right.
as long as we allow people to press their personal biases and their viewpoints, people have to, if you don't have access to a car and you don't have the ability to get to the next pharmacy and find out where you can pick up that prescription, your 72-hour window is done. They win either way. So you potentially get pregnant. But here's the thing: when I close off the door for contraception, and I close off the access to education, I don't increase wages, and I don't give you health care, you're going to produce more and more children. And we have this forced birthing. I'm wondering if they're truly interested in adopting all these babies, or do they just want the white babies?
No.
Or are they going to take all the babies, brown and black and white, and they're going to indoctrinate them into this foolishness that we got going on now, so we can have a whole room full of Christian, what's his name? Christian Walker, Herschel Walker's nut job son, and then you got another one
Can't
that's
say that.
oh, I did already. I did.
Okay.
Right. And more Candace Owens. Yeah. How you going?
Okay.
Shut up, girl. Never mind.
Good.
Right. Commercial break.
But this is so good. No. Listen, we got a question.
I think one of the things
Shift real
what Dr.
quick.
McKinney
Go
was
ahead.
saying, that we have people that are, we produce a group of people who are far extremists and not pretty in the middle of the way. And they don't become middle of the way individual until it happens to them. And I think that's one of the things that we need to say. We don't all go around practicing unprotected sex. Some people have been abused. Some people, have been raped. Those are things like that. But let us talk about the rape victims. So now you're going to say this legislation is basically saying if you raped and if you get beyond 6 weeks, that you have to maintain this child. How psychologically that's very damaging to say that I have to carry my rapist child. How can I look at that child?
It is women
Marty,
in the
how do you think about
legislature.
that?
It's the women in the legislature that are doing this. They're writing some of these bills. They don't think it's going to be any more damaging for you to be a rape victim to have a baby than to be a rape victim that terminated one.
One of the things we have to do here in America is do a much better approach of integrative medicine and an integrative approach to medicine, because it's not, we got to take the psychology, we got to take the physical medicine, what you all are doing, and somehow merge this together. And that's why I'm so grateful for Dr. Allen, as we're definitely approaching that and trying to do a much better job of doing that, because when she did a warm handoff to me, I was able to find some things and then report back to her. Not only did we have a better job of helping get through some of the more traumatic times on a sooner basis, but we were able to also get proper medication, because I'm able to track patterns a lot better, because I'm seeing them on a weekly basis where you might be seeing them every other month with that. So we can talk back and forth, and then I have a better idea what they're going to. We have this question, and then we have another question on the floor that I want to kind of change and pivot away from Roe v. Wade, because we have something about menopause, but says, will the reverse of Roe versus Wade affect women who have miscarriages and need a DNC?
It could potentially,
yeah. It could. I was going to say it could potentially, because one of the bills on the floor talked about ectopic pregnancies, which I'm like, that's a medical emergency. So I'm not...
Explain ectopic pregnancy, doctor.
Oh, I'm
Explain
sorry.
ectopic
pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy is a pregnancy in the fallopian tube, which is if that pregnancy continues to grow, you can rupture, it can lead to bleeding, and it can possibly lead to death. I know, Dr. McKinney, you thought maybe, this was all a plan to have these children indoctrinated, these children that were essentially unwanted, indoctrinated, and born. I think it's all an attack on women, because
it is.
Birth control pills aren't covered, but Viagra's covered. Please explain to me. Help me make that make sense. Like, that does not make sense to me.
Here's even better than that. Why don't we focus on birth control for freaking men? Put a long-acting contraception in a man. One man can impregnate 30 women in a month. Why are we focusing on women? Why don't we focus
I'm
on the
ready to
man that's
tie
spreading it like peanut butter?
some sort of stuff up
Right.
anyway, because they out here having way too many and can't take care of them. I had a client today. I'm like, you know, 10 kids and you barely 30. Come on now. That's a whole nother story.
See,
Yes.
wait.
Right.
See, now you're on that Roe versus Wade side. They be like, see, that's why they need that. No, I'm messing with you. But I think back to the question,
Well, he
at
needs
hand
snip,
is
snip.
that right, snip, cut, and you shouldn't have no.
Yes.
Right.
For the person who was on that call, yes, we do feel that if you have a miscarriage or miscarriage, because also that will be misinterpreted, because in the medical community we consider miscarriages or missed abortions, and so people are going to start equating that word to that, because we don't, miscarriage is a layman term, right? Meaning everybody
Okay.
uses it out in the field, but when you come to us, we don't consider you losing your baby as a miscarriage. Most of the time we say missed abortion, incomplete abortion, spontaneous abortion. We
Okay.
classify that. And I think if those type of terminologies get out into mainstream society, it will affect how healthcare will perceive you and what will be done as far as reimbursement rate is concerned, how you're going to be handled.
Sure.
It's a vicious cycle that we're going to see. And we need to sit down and start changing our terminology and our lingo to support this. Our groups need to get together and say, hey, this is not right. This is something that's going to either damage our entire, population, or, we're just going to have women that are going to die. We're going to go back to
That's tragic.
pre-abortion era before 1979, where, women are going to show up in the operating room or in the hospitals, fearing
Barely.
childbirth because they're going to die. And so we need to
Yeah.
stop that.
Well,
And
I don't know that
this
the
is my other
terminology needs to
thing.
change. I don't know that the
Okay.
terminology need to change. I think our mindset and how we attack this issue needs to change more than the terminology, because the word is the word, and however you cloak it, they'll change that terminology to mean the same thing, to mean something adverse. So when we start changing terminologies to fit an evil narrative, then we become part of the problem as well. I think, however, that we should also start talking about, why are people allowed to, in some states, the legislature has allowed you to, like in Texas, tell on your neighbor, report them for a reward so that person can be incarcerated for attempting to terminate a pregnancy. You've got certain bills saying at 6 weeks, when most people don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. That's why I think these phone menstrual cycle trackers are going to be used in certain states to track people's cycles, so
Wow.
that we know who is pregnant, who is potentially pregnant, because we're violating HIPAA all across. So you're gonna throw out HIPAA too. You're gonna throw out all of that. So this is where we're going.
Well.
It's a slippery slope into loss of our ability to choose, loss of contraception, loss of the vote, and then everything else goes in a draconian fashion. There are so many laws the Supreme Court has just now passed that make no sense, none whatsoever. None. And so that's what makes me afraid that everything else will fall behind it.
I love that you're saying we need to be proactive in educating our communities a lot better on terminology, and about their health and wellness. But I love even being proactive. And this is where I go with this too, guys, about we have to be churches. We have to now help our people become more aware and stop making it a political and religious issue, but it is a health issue. We had this come on and we want to look at this. Says, ladies, you were talking about menopause last year. Says, I've been diagnosed with this HER2
It's HER2 positive breast cancer.
Yes, thank
And
you.
the
HER2 positive breast cancer. There we go. Put me into menopause. I reflected back on what I learned from you all. So Paula, thank you so much. Paula is a recent breast cancer survivor who's just finished up with all her chemo and everything. We are so proud, and she is a wonderful, wonderful supporter of this show, and loved you guys. And see what even your support and your information that you gave us over a year ago helped support her through her chemo treatments and being able to keep her abreast and alive. That's why, ladies, I got to have y'all once a month, once every other, something, because you're helping and you're making a difference in the community. We're going to get somebody call Oprah, call up somebody and get us a show, get us on Lifetime. I don't care, just get us on somebody so we can just still talk about these things and keep our communities active and in the know. If we've got to start our own network, let's start our own network, y'all, and get this on here. We'll take a grant. Something. Now, let's go back to some of the women's health challenges. Where do women who are not active? I totally agree with the psycho apps. Thank you, Portia, giving government our private information. No one should know that. You're absolutely right. And that's the areas. How do we encourage? We were having this conversation earlier about our younger ladies, and I even say with younger men too. How do we stress to them, although their bodies might be what they might consider absolutely well? How do we get our 20s and early 30s active to see their doctors, ladies, on a regular basis, and making sure that they're getting their annual checkups and so forth? Because I just had a whole battery of stuff done, and I just got put on, y'all pray my strength, on cholesterol right now, and so we're getting all that under control, but it's making me wake up again. I was like, look, Marty, you in your mid-50s, so you can't do what you used to do. Went on a hike and about died on I know you're not, Queen. No, not at all. But how do we get young people back in and making sure that we take care of our health? Why is that so vitally important, especially for women? Even if men don't, why is it imperative that women make sure that they know breast cancer, so many things? I always say it this way: we got to shake our family tree so we know what we're most prone to. Dr. Horn, talk to us about that. Why is so? Go ahead, Dr. McKinney.
I was going to say that Black women have the most lethal breast cancers.
Yes.
Black women die more of cervical cancer. Black women have more comorbid factors, and that also goes also back into the racist demographics and how we were redlined, and lack of access to care, lack of access to food. It's all a vicious cycle.
Yes.
But breast cancer can be caught early, and so can cervical cancer. So if we do the screenings on a regular basis and we educate people how important it is to go, because you'll see people who haven't seen the doctor since they gave birth 30 years ago, and they got full-blown advanced disease. Absolutely bananas. But people think that I had all my kids, I'm done with y'all, I don't need to see you when you do. So,
but I think
so, Marty,
one of the main concerns. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, Marty, the question that you asked was, how do we get young women? Young women typically come in. Young women are either trying to get pregnant or trying not to get pregnant. It's the women after the childbearing, that late 30s, early 40s, we tend to lose women. And like Dr. McKinney was saying, those are the women that need to come in for their cancer screenings, for their mammograms, for their bimanual exams. Those are the women that we need to come in to see their providers, to see their physicians.
But I also think the problem is also our community. Our community is also the detriment of us, because what happened is that Grandma Sue has sugar, and she did well, and she ate chocolate all day long. So that's the problem that we get. So our own community becomes that, well, I'm not going to Dr. such and such because he did this, and I'm not going to ever see him again. So we have to find a way, like you said, to talk to everybody. And everybody, let me tell you where this is coming from. In California now, we have, what is this? Healthcare LA and all these programs are now paying lay doulas to say that they need to communicate with women of color in order for them to have adequate care. So I tell my patients, a lay doula is Erica Badu. No offense, Erica Badu. Anybody who wants to just come up and say that they want to help you in childbirth. And they said they can't relate to me. We speak Ebonics just like everyone else, and give us an opportunity to come to the table and speak with us. So therefore, you don't need an intermediate to say what I'm saying to you. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? But anyway, those are the kind of things I want Black women to understand, is that I am not different. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles just like you do.
Come
So
on.
like you did. So therefore we can talk about the problems that we have. Therefore, come to me. Don't go to no one else. Don't go to the social media page. Just like when we were talking about go getting COVID vaccines. How many
Yes.
today you got people getting these fake cards going around now killing the rest of us
Yep.
because you got COVID? So come on, quit listening to the masses and listen to the people who look like you, or have not, let's not say look like you, who have the knowledge base to teach you
There we
what
go.
you need to know, as opposed to going down to Jamie's place and hanging out on the corner, Simply Wholesome, and then sitting at the table and everybody talking about, let me go and put some herbs and some greens and some stuff and some salve on some stuff, and then that's going to get rid of cancer. No, people, we are educated for a reason. No one skipped over us in a generation and said, okay, that only person, I'm going to educate that Black person because they're different. No, we're just like you. We have the genes just like you, but
That's
we're
good. That's
educated
good.
to do our own research. That's my thing. So I feel that in our community,
Okay.
we need to go out and do more outreach. Get to the younger people. Get
That's
to their
good.
parents. Get to their fathers, like you, Marty. Get to the guys and say, let's do prostate exams. But we Black men,
Yes.
I'm not doing that. I don't want nobody to put their finger in my butt. Come on, people, you're going to die. Black men die of prostate cancer quicker than anybody because you don't want to go to the
Yes.
doctor because you're afraid. But that's
And
my
we find
spill.
out
I just
everything,
think
but we find out everything too late when it's in the
that
the
is
the,
correct.
the last. We're on our dying bed and like, oh, do something. No, I can't do anything now. Only thing I do is make you comfortable. I had that same conversation with a Black man today, talking about, oh, I had to get a prostate exam, and I just felt so violated. I'm like, but you're here, right? You're healthy.
Right.
Okay, you'll be
Well,
all
how
right.
do they think that we feel every year or every 2 years
Wow,
when we
that's
put a
good.
speculum in our vagina to make us see like that? But at least we're trying to prevent cervical cancer, and that will be a story for us on a different day, because now they're trying to extend the years on when we do pelvic examination. Or I'm in a research project now where they're trying to eliminate pap smear exam because they're saying that they're deemed to be useless. But that's all an insurance ploy. But again, I think we need to say that we need to talk to everyone. Jamie, watch your face. That we
Right,
need to
I was like,
talk
Jamie,
to
you had that face. That's what I
No,
said. I was like,
I
what is your face
I
saying? Talk
I
to me.
can't. Right, I can't believe. I'm not surprised that insurance companies are now
right,
going to say pap smears aren't needed. I'm not surprised. It just goes to what I
right,
was saying with earlier. It's an attack on women. I feel
A
it's
like
a
war
tech.
on
we
women.
are
It's
being
a war on
attacked.
women.
Yeah.
So when you hear Black women say, I'm not wearing one more pink pussy hat, I'm not doing not one more march, I need you guys to of the other side to start talking about the issues that are salient to all of us. We need to talk about the George Floyd bill. We need to talk about
Mm,
the Voting Rights Act. We need to talk about all of
John
that. So
Lewis
why should we
bill.
march the John Lewis bill? Why should we be out here
yes.
fighting for Roe v. Wade when you were okay when it was something that we cared about? So if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna fight for Roe v. Wade, have at it. But do something about these other things that value for other people that doesn't look just like you. So we have to
I
come
agree.
together as a people. If all of us who agree on the same topics that we need to fight for Roe v. Wade, we need voting rights legislation, and we need adequate health care, then how come we still quiet? Because this is not the majority. We are. But why are we
Wow.
not talking? Why are we not
So how do we?
demanding? We should demand our legislatures listen to us. Take money out of the issue, or we're not going to vote you back in. Like, how did Marjorie Stone Green? How did that lady get back in win her primary? How did what was that in
Well,
Ohio?
you
The
know
man
why
is
she
in
won
jail
the
for
primary.
right.
You know why
But
the crazies come out during the primary. It's the general election.
well,
And that's
it
important to us, that we need to get out and vote. Just because there's no
That's
one
right.
on your ticket that is not the color of your skin, you need to
it
vote on
doesn't
the
matter.
issue, not the color. And that's
Right.
the problem with some of our people, is that we vote on a color because we see someone out there that look like us, and oh, I'm gonna vote because they're gonna change. How are they gonna change something about you and they don't even know what your rights are? And so we need to go and vote on issues. We need to educate our community about issues and not about color.
And
That's good.
register
That's
people to
good.
vote again, because in Georgia
Register to
they
vote.
purged all these voters. They have they had 170% increase in voter in the primary so far. There is a great push, but that's because somebody purged 300,000 plus people during the last election. That's because they've now gutted voter rights legislation in the state of Georgia. And then you got, what is his name, Herschel Walker running for something. I think it's the Senate.
Yeah, he's running
Yeah.
against Reverend Warnock.
Warnock. It's amazing to me how Republicans will find any person of color and run them against another person, because we all look alike, right? So that's
And
what they do.
regardless of his education and background, I don't know if you guys have heard him speak.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Listen, I thought 45 is like scratching a chalkboard, but baby, he beat it down.
He got nothing
oh my
on
God.
45. Nothing.
Okay. I can't. I told y'all that we missed them. We missed these ladies.
Oh
we
my
missed these
God.
ladies.
It's like a hamina, wah, wah. That's what he talks like. A hamina, oh, wah, wah.
And then the people that he's talking
Wah.
to are like, yeah. I'm like, what?
You're like,
Well, that's brainwashing. We know that. But anyway, how do we now get these? What are some steps that we can take besides like platforms like this? What can we do, community, and what can we charge our listeners to do in getting the necessary health checks, making sure we're talking to our community, our household? What are some first steps that we can do? How do we make I was going to say mental health, but physical health? How do we make this more accessible in our community? What are some steps that we can take, Dr. Allen? Because you're all you ladies, because of your Divine Nine that you're connected to, you guys do a lot of community service work, but that's still not enough. How do we now get past the Divine Nine and get past to some of these places where we're at? Do we need to go to the liquor stores and stand out there and do some stuff?
I think one of the things that we need to do, we need to go back to having education in the schools. We used to have outside sex education in the school. You used to have school clinics and things of that nature. And that will let people know, high school kids, that you can go to this particular office. We need to put health education, sex education back into the school system so people can know the importance of their health. I did not realize that a lot of the schools has taken that out of their curriculum. They don't learn about our body, ourselves, and things like that. And just even general health ed is gone. So I think for me, if they put that back into the school systems, I think that would help a lot, and that will it will stimulate the mind of kids to start thinking and want to go out there. I wanted to become a physician because of what I saw in school, not because of I have physicians in my family. So I think putting that out there, learning about our bodies, and learning about issues and things like that, I think that will be a good way to start. For me, I think it's education in the school systems.
Well, they stopped that for a reason. They stopped that for a reason. They defunded programs. School was originally designed in the public school to give you people who follow instruction and make you part of the workforce. The fact that some people succeeded was a byproduct, but majority of people who are in public schools are middle to lower income, and since the gap between the middle income has shrunk, and we have more low income and less middle income and the higher income, the people who are middle and high can afford to send their kids to any school. So they're not part of that. They're getting everything. But the people who are in the public schools, you're keeping them to a level where, like Dr. Allen said, she saw somebody that made her want to go to medical school. You covet what you see. If you didn't grow up in a neighborhood with a doctor, you didn't know a doctor that looked like you, what are you seeing that will give you the idea you want to do anything but besides being a teacher? And the teaching profession is excellent, except now they need to learn how to do army maneuvers and keep their kids safe in their classroom.
Carrying the
that's a whole nother, wow.
A whole nother story. where you can carry assault rifle, you can buy at 18, but you cannot go to a club, you cannot buy liquor, you can't drive a car by yourself, nor can you have an abortion by yourself. So what is wrong with America?
Or
Something
get
is
a
definitely
fishing
wrong.
license, I found out today. It's harder to
Yeah,
get
you
a
can't.
fishing license in Texas
It sure
than it
is.
is to buy an assault rifle.
It sure is.
Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense,
Yeah.
because it does
Dr.
not.
Horn, you said something in the beginning. You said pro-life. Give us your little comment. You talked about pro-life, and you can't be pro-life if you support gun violence. Am I
Oh, I
correct?
was just saying you can't, right, correct. If you are pro life, that means you support life at all stages, not just life in my womb, but life when the baby comes
Mm.
out. You
Mm.
support gun control, and like Dr. McKinney was saying earlier, a fair wage for the parents. You support food
Mm.
programs. You do all the things that will help my life flourish. You can't just care about the
Wow.
life in the uterus. You need to care about the life on the outside of the uterus. But
Yeah.
Marty, you had asked the question, what can we
Mhm.
do as a
Yes.
grassroots to get patients in the doors? I
Yes.
recommend something that we do in our clinic. Bring a friend. You know how you're always telling your girlfriend about the
Nice.
latest jeans, the latest this. It should be everyday conversation. Girl, did you get your mammogram this year? Girl, you get your pap this year?
Mm.
Take a friend. If you're going, take a friend. Make sure a girlfriend of yours has checked in. Like my good friend,
That's
Dr.
good.
Allen, is always asking me, did I take my blood pressure medicine? Most days I didn't, but she reminds me, and I have it with me to take. So you need that girl with you.
Right.
But
And
Thank
Marty,
also
for
too,
the
you
you.
have to
month of
be.
October, for the month of October,
Yes.
we're gonna do our sequence again for the whole month. Know your girls
Yes.
like you know your girls, and so that's
Know your
like our little
girls like
push.
you know your girls.
Know your girls, and so that'll be for us, so we can still talk and bring women aboard about getting their mammograms. We're gonna start that early on, so we can pub that, because I think that's the most important thing for us now. Like Dr. McKinley said that
Yes.
breast cancer is very aggressive in African American women, and we die early. We die at 40s and 50s and
Yes.
things of that nature. So why is there? We need to close that gap.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. We got to have you guys back now. We gonna plan our next time together. We can't stay away. Y'all can't stay away this long. People have been blowing up. My mama down there talking about, oh, I'm gonna watch y'all tonight because the doctors. I'm like, I'm on every week. She goes, well, I like the doctors. I'm like,
That's hilarious.
wow,
Tell mom I said I love
Hey,
wow.
her.
Mama,
I love
tell her
your
we back.
mom. We back.
We are
Tell her.
back.
Yep.
I mean,
Awesome, awesome. Go ahead.
there are a
Oh
lot of
no.
interesting topics. We've been off for the whole year. We're going to come to you guys with many more things. We'll probably have another discussion about this Roe versus Wade. Again, breast cancer, fibroids, menopause, hot flashes, bioidentical hormones. And also, Dr. Horn does something that I
Obesity.
don't like. Obesity. Oh, speaking of obesity, Marty and I are working on this mind body dysmorphism,
Yes.
social media type thing, how it deals with the fact that mental health is a problem because of how we see ourselves. Shallow Hal
Mm-hmm.
is a prime example of that, because what ends up happening is that we see something with our eyes that does not reflect in the mirror, and that plays a part on our psyche. So, and
Yes.
that's destroying our young girls nowadays, because that's a problem. I think that's will be our part two. And Dr. Horn loves to talk about obesity, and and being not your being shallow Hal, but the fact that's one of our conversations that we all have. Being from California,
She just
a
gonna throw you
lot of
under the
us are
bus
really
like that.
sensitive. No, I'm
You know
actually
what?
on the bus,
I can just
rolling.
smile.
I'm backing up over you. Here we go again, shallow. No, I'm joking with you, Dr. Horn.
Listen, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. Dr. Horn, how can we reach out to you? Because I'm not gonna let my girl do you like that. I got you, Dr.
Right.
Horn. I got
I
I got you. Wait, give me a minute. Listen.
Our next conversation will be obesity in the African American community and how we can tackle that.
Girl, we got
Dr.
part two
Horn.
for
How do
our
we get a
I
hold of
family.
cannot.
you?
Jesus.
Again, I'm Dr. Horn. I work at the University of Chicago Ingalls Hospital in Harvey, Illinois. You can reach me through there or social media.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Horn. Love the summer look. Go for it. Yes. Yes. Dr. McKinney, how can we get a hold of you in Lake Charles?
Sweet Jesus. I work for Lake Charles Memorial Hospital, and you can reach me at the women's campus. 337-480-5510 is the office. I'm also available on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. And Dr. Allen, who has a birthday this Friday. Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Woo!
Oh my God.
She's serving face. Yes. Dr. Allen, how do we get you at the Gardena Women's Center? Come on.
Right. You can find me at Gardena Women's Center here in Gardena, California. I'm actually not on social media, but GardenaWomenCenter.com. You can find us and find out all the great things we do here. We're looking forward to talking to you guys and spreading all the information. Marty, it's always a pleasure. And again, thank you guys for praying for my mom and giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. Kind of took my mind off it for, just a little bit, but that was good enough for me, and I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate know that you're in our prayers and everything, and we are so excited. I told y'all it was not going to be a dull show with the doctors, and you already know that. Join us next week, and Derek, we're going to put up the flash for next week and going straight up out. But if you're in crises, we don't want you to ever be in crises. Thank you, as it comes back to me. If you are in crises, you can always call 911 or type crises to 741-741. Again, text crises to 741-741. Listen, if you're looking for a therapist, check me out on Psychology Today. Check me out on Therapy for Black Men, and they are offering free scholarships to those men who don't have insurance or can't pay. Good therapy, and always marcelconsulting.com. Again, join us next week when we are so excited to have our monthly residential folk. We're talking about Black culture, community, and Christ with none other than Bishop Sean Stewart, Dr. Margarita Story, and my brother, none other than Rob Sellers himself. But again, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame in this journey called life. The doctors have told you from the time they got on here, we want you to speak up. We want you to speak out about your rights. Why? In order that you might live and be able to enjoy your life. Thank you for joining. Share this podcast and this stream with someone else that you know can be blessed for it. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week. God bless.